You're about to watch a clip from the Videomaker podcast. If you want to see the whole episode, click the link in the description. Okay, so this next topic is for people who are using video in their homes, I guess, to make vlogs or to communicate remotely. And we're talking about, like, if you have a job and you need to do a meeting, take a meeting, and use your webcam.
There's going to be a lot of telecommuting starting soon. You know, people are quarantined at home. Hopefully not everybody's losing their job. So they're going to be able to, we're going to have to figure out a new way of communicating that works for us all. I'm reminded by my son, who told me this morning the most exciting reason why he's excited that he doesn't have school is he can be around in his underwear all day. And that's something.
Who isn't excited about?
Yeah, exactly. Who is
being in their own underwear?
And there, not somebody else's underwear. But that you're gonna, that means you might not be the most flattering all the time. So, having a time or a place or a way, having something set up so that you can look professional for the 15-minute meeting, and of course look good, but to keep that, to be able to actually even do that, right?
Or even if you're doing a video call with friends and family who, you don't want to like spread any germs or anything, so you're doing it remotely. You want to look good for them too, right?
I mean, if you have it set up, why not? Yeah,
exactly. So the question here, or the topic is, how do you get a really nice looking shot, essentially? And I see this all the time. I mean, it really is a lack of lighting. 9 times out of 10, when someone is, shooting they had set up their camera for a video conference, or they're doing a vlog or something, if it looks bad, it's probably because the lighting is poor.
It's lighting or camera angle. And lighting is absolutely the best way to look professional. Any of your video, add lights, light it properly or deliberately, and
or at all. Some people don't even light it.
Well, and think about webcams or your phone or whatever you're going to use to use as a camera in those situations. They're not good low light. They're small sensors. They're gonna, if you don't light the scene well, it's not going to look very good. But it's amazing how great they look if you give them ample light. People are very happy with their pictures from their phone when they take them outside, but as soon as they go into a dark room and take a picture, it looks like garbage.
Right.
So this is all about dealing with those small censored cameras, really.
Yeah. And, I think the biggest tip I have for anyone who's doing this is try to set up, you may disagree with me on this, Chris, but I'm going to stick to it.
Yeah, go for it.
Set up your camera so that you have a window directly on the other side of the camera, and that window does not receive direct sunlight coming into it. So, for example, at my house, I have a tree in front of the house on the lawn, and the sun never shines directly into that office window because if the sun is in an angle where it could enter the room, the tree is always providing shade. And so if I set up a camera there with a camera pointing away from the window and me and receiving that light, it generally looks good. It's always very soft. It's obviously daylight colored. Now, that doesn't help me in the evening when it's dark and the sun's down. Got to figure out something else there. But in those circumstances, cloudy or sunny, it's always soft light coming through that window. If you have direct sunlight coming through, it's going to be a little harder, I think.
Yeah, diffuse it somehow. So, blinds or something like that. The thing is, what's a really high quality light? The sun. We talk about TLCI and CRI ratings of lights and constant lighting and how all the different things about lights that you may or may not care about. But that a really high quality light is the sun. It's a very, it's going to make your images look better having the sun, and it's bright. So, a lot of times, especially a lot of situations, we're not talking about people that have loads of video lights. And I guess if you're lucky enough to be a video professional and have lights that you want to just set up for your teleconferencing, that's cool. But, we're talking about using what you got and trying to make the best out of it. And so I think that the light, sometimes you might not be able to move your angle depending on where the
that's true.
light is, but that's always true, right? This is if you're outside and you're shooting, understanding where the light's coming from, its angle, the things you might have to deal with otherwise. So if the sun's coming directly in, cool. Maybe pull your blinds down if they're not blackouts, and now you'll have diffuse light. Cool. But, the hard thing about that is going to be mixing it with your home light. So a lot of houses, most of the time, fluorescent lights tend to be more white. And I think we all identify that. Fluorescent bulbs, small bulbs, long bulbs, or whatever. They're more white than say tungsten, which is like your incandescent bulb.
Yeah, when we say white, we're really talking about daylight white.
Yeah,
the color temperature 5,500 Kelvin plus.
Yeah, well, and fluorescence probably in the 4,000 range.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
But the big thing is just whatever you got, take a look and make sure the scene isn't like it looks cold behind you, but you look really warm. Just trying to balance those things. And if you're not using sunlight, then just use a bunch of lights that are similar to each other. And the big key for all this, and that pun intended, is to have one light, which is your key, that is lighting up your scene as much as you'd like. And all of the other lights are to either give shape or to get rid of shadows. It's that simple. So you have one light that's lighting your subject. Hopefully they're looking flattering. You're going to have shadows and that kind of thing, but the majority of your lighting's coming from the one light. You're using the other light we're talking about using 3 lights, using another light just to fill in the shadows created by the other light. And then hopefully another light, which could be anything, is giving you some light from behind. That could be from the ceiling light or what have you. And this is really for contour. This is to give your the 2D image from the camera to give you more depth. And really, it's just exactly that. It's giving you depth. It's lighting you from behind so that there's a transition between the brightest and the darkest.
Now, the other tip, actually, one we can breeze by pretty quickly. Try to keep your camera at eye level. One of the worst shots for conferences or for vlogs is when someone's using the webcam on their laptop, and their laptop is like sitting on a surface and they're like looking down at the thing.
Yeah, it's like the double chin, even if you don't have them.
The low angle shot, I guess it makes you look powerful, right? Like that's the thing.
If you're trying to make a power move over the teleconference.
Yeah, but in that case, yeah, exactly. You got to wear your power tie, your red power tie.
Yeah.
But other than that, it tends to make people get the double chin. They look like they're heavier than normal. And, if you go too high, you won't have the double chin. You'll look thin. That's why all the Instagram models like to do these high angle selfies. Yeah. But it does make you look a little bit vulnerable. Eye level, just right.
Well, and it's not awkward. So, looking up at a camera, for me that has neck problems a lot of times, that would be, I just wouldn't, keeping eye contact with the people you're talking to or whatever is going to be more difficult. Low is just, it's not going to look as good. And from high, it's just going to be hard to keep. We had this when we first started streaming live on Facebook, because at the time there was no other way to get the video onto the live. So we were using our laptop or a phone, but the laptop, we just use an Apple box to lift the whole laptop up. So we were seeing it from more eye to eye. If you got an external USB webcam, just find a better angle.
Or if you've got one of those, what's the thing we just got, the Blackmagic ATM. Yeah, it just turns a camera into your webcam.
Yeah, I have one over on the floor here. It's a AJA UTAP. Same thing. Is it just takes an HDMI and turns it into the USB protocol, so that you can bring it into your computer. And moreover, is that when you open up Skype or Google Meetings or whatever, it's seeing that as the input. So, there's a lot of ways to get HDMI into your computer, but it's really important in this case is that it's coming in under the the webcam protocol. So it's a choice when you open up your software as an input device, because otherwise, depending on if Skype might not see it as an input because you need to have some other software between it and whatever. So just to be careful, that's definitely important. And that was something new a few years ago. I think it's being wrapped up into a lot of different pieces of hardware these days. Definitely a lot easier to do and not necessarily expensive. However, unless I'm wanting to be overly look great, I would think I would settle for a phone or a laptop in almost every situation, except for like situations like this where, if we're live streaming from home, I'm probably going to try to do it in the best way possible. But that's also because we have the equipment around.
Yeah, there's a difference obviously between live streaming, content, like we're making content and streaming it to the world, not streaming in this case, we're going to record it. But as opposed to a video conference where you're having a meeting, the production level, it doesn't need to be quite the same.
Well, and it's over when you're done. So it's not like the recording of you. And, we, of course, have extra added pressure here is that we teach people how to make video. So it's really hard for us to present video that doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Right?
But the real simple solution here is if you're using a laptop and a webcam on a laptop is just lift up the laptop, get a stack of books or something.
Yeah, totally.
The last tip I have here, which it really is not easy to replicate, maybe, I don't know, it might be harder than the position yourself by a nice window is, set your background so that it doesn't look crummy. Actually, a lot of conferencing software now will just like blur out the background. Pretty neat technology if you want to hide what's back there. But certainly if you're creating a YouTube video, it's not the case. And what always bugs me about a lot of vloggers' content is they often shoot it in their bedroom with like their bed in the background. And, I get it. A lot of people don't have a big place. Like maybe they're in a studio apartment or they're in an apartment where their computer's in their bedroom or whatever. I understand. At the same time, if you can avoid that, I feel like you should. At my house, I'm fortunate enough to have an office. One of the perks of not having children is you can have an office.
Hey, I have children and I have an office, there.
Ooh la la. But at any rate, the office is a bedroom. I mean, it's a normal bedroom that is an office for me. And I have my computer set up so that the closet is on the opposite side. And so if I set up a webcam, it's going to point at the closet. And the closet is, to me, a dead giveaway of this is a bedroom.
I'm at home, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And inside the closet is not closed. It's like I put office stuff in there. There's like a printer and stuff. But I also, this is just a short story here. I used to, when I was in college, I worked at Kinko's. And someone came in, they had their art. They painted this really awesome, like comic book style painting of a zombie, like tearing his guts out. And I was like, oh man, this is so rad. And they wanted it printed on canvas. And so I printed it on canvas for them. And they came in, and this artist was very particular. And I understand you're an artist. And he looks at it and he's like, I don't like this. The printing is doubled slightly. And there's like a little shadow effect on all the lines. I'm like, looks fine to me, but whatever. Printed a new one, got it worked for him. But now I had this extra zombie canvas print, and I was like, I'm not going to throw it this way. That's wasteful. So I took it home. I have it hanging in my office still inside the closet. So if I'm streaming from a webcam, there's this big canvas painting of this zombie tearing his guts out right behind it. So close the canvas or close the closet door when I'm having a conference call with someone important, right?
If we want to talk about, not spreading virus and stuff, and then you have like zombie apocalypse behind you, you have a mixed message there. So your communication is poor. So that's really the biggest reason for it all.
Yeah.
And of course, I think professionalism. If I'm having a meeting and I look like I'm in my bedroom and you can see, my bed
it's not made or anything.
That I didn't make, and then the underwear that I just strung on the floor or something. That just doesn't scream professional. And so if you want to be respected, a lot of times it's just hide that stuff because everybody does.
Yeah. So if we were in a situation where I was taking a lot of meetings over the internet, and I was doing a lot of conference calls, I would rearrange my office, frankly, to point away from the closet generally, because I think a closet screams bedroom. People are understanding right now, should say that, so no big deal. But I would still rearrange things so that I have a bookshelf behind in the background. Like I can position it so that there's a bookshelf next to a doorway that leads to a hallway. So, I would pay very close attention to what's behind the, you as a subject that's on camera.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's just, controlling your background. It's interesting. Both PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye, two different YouTubers, do their videos from their office, and they actually set up a background for it. PewDiePie is funny because it's a mirror, so you can actually see the mirror and then see everything that he's shooting, which seems like a really bad choice. But regardless, it's a room that he does it with. But that they have green screens that are pretty much look like projector screens that they just pull down, and then all of a sudden they can be wherever they want. Or for them, it's they're going to be now playing a game or whatever. But I know that Jacksepticeye, when he was traveling or something like that, he took a picture of his office and then green screened everything so it looked like he was in his office no matter where he was at. So if you're really worried about your background or whatever, you can surely make it look like you're in Bermuda or something. I don't know.
Yeah. If you can do that, that's great. And actually, you can do it pretty cheaply now. If you have the green screen, you can get these pop-up green screens for under $100.
Yeah,
if your lighting is good, you can get OBS for free and key it out. Okay.